Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. And today with me, I have a lady that I have had on my summit. I've had times to work with her and collaborate and bounce ideas off. And she is amazing. Her name is Annika. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay. And where are you located, Annika?
I'm in Ottawa, Canada.
Perfect. And I love her message. Every time she talks, I'm like really thrilled and excited. There's lots of things that she says that I totally agree with. So I like hearing those from other people instead of myself. So that part is good. But she is amazing. I want you to tell your story for our audience members. And thank you, audience, for being here and taking the time to tune in to our show. And Annika, thank you for taking time, because I know you're really busy, for being here and sharing some of your expertise with us. So tell us a little bit about how you came to do what you do and your passions, and why do you think this is such an important thing?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me and for your kind words. No, I'm really excited to share my message and my journey because I'm from Sweden originally, and growing up, I didn't really know about a lot of this stuff. The fields I ended up studying, I didn't even know they existed. So my first degree was like in business. I did economics things, and then I did a lot of traveling, and I worked in computers. And then I got sick just around the time when I had my two daughters. They're only 18 months apart. So I ended up with stomach problems. And I had some tests because it was very inconvenient to have stomach pain after every meal with a newborn and a toddler. And then I was sitting in my doctor's office, and he was handing me a prescription, and I innocently asked him, so how long do I have to take these? And he said, well, probably for the rest of your life. And those words just did something to me. It woke something up, and I just said no inside my head. And I went home and I checked my bookcase, and I had one single book on health, and I read it cover to cover and made a lot of changes. And I felt better, and I decided to change my career. I was done with the computer stuff, and I started studying holistic health. So I studied herbal medicine, holistic nutrition, homeopathy, Heilkunst, and then eventually functional nutrition. And my health has been sort of my prodding me along to go deeper, and working, on my own issues and with family members and my clients. I realized pretty quickly that inflammation is such a core in basically every chronic and degenerative condition that's really holding us back from leading, full lives. So that's, I'm really focusing on anti-inflammatory eating, cooking, and living.
Right. It's truly mind-boggling how many things are actually connected to it. And collectively now we have the term chronic inflammatory diseases. But when you look at what that actually means, it goes from everything from immune stuff to heart stuff to brain stuff to joint stuff and everything there in between. And it impacts us for decades before it actually becomes diagnosed as a medical condition of some sort that ultimately shortens our lifespan, our quality of life, and everything else. So yeah, it's I'm already passionate about this topic.
Yeah, no, it really robs people of so much. It's really expensive for us as a society as a whole, but then it robs people of quality of life. And as parents, I know that you want to spend the time with your kids to do fun things and not just drag yourself through the day and do the bare minimum. And I think also because my journey towards better health and becoming, working in the field of holistic health started because of my kids. It's I think it's really important message that we are truly role models when we look after ourselves and we give our children good habits.
Right. Ultimately, that's how they end up structuring their lifestyle, right? And many times what ends up happening is that the conditions and the problems that we used to see occur in our 30s and 40s as far as health conditions, now because of how lifestyle is, we are seeing it in younger and younger audiences. Things that we used to see in somebody who's 40-year-old, now we're seeing that in teenagers and even kids before they reach their double-digit years. So it's insane to see a kid suffering from conditions that a 40-year-old typically complains about. So yeah, it's something that we definitely need to address. We can totally, like we talk about resources and financial problems, healthcare issues and limitations. This one element is just so transformational if it could be addressed on an individual basis. And we all have a choice on it. That's the best part about it. All right. So you have a personal connection to this, and you have seen it through your expertise, how this impacts lives. And based on that, based on your expertise and your experience, tell our audience members what you have seen to be some of the challenges that the people experience before they come see you. And
Yeah.
ultimately, the other question that I have, so this is a two-parted question,
Okay.
is that once they come to you, oftentimes many of these are habit related, lifestyle related. So it actually requires some, transformation and change on the person, on the individual's part, right? So what are some of the challenges that you see in the transformation process that they have to overcome? So challenges when they come to you, and then the challenges that they have to overcome to make those changes, basically.
Yeah. So the first one, like, it's fatigue, like not having enough energy to get through the day. And when we don't have energy, it's hard to make good decisions, right? So, and sort of coupled with that is often brain fog. And especially as women get above 35 and hormones start, doing the roller coaster ride, it can become really hard. And then it's also just to know what it means to eat healthy, because people are often in a way they fall victim to fad diets, right? And you think you can hack this and you hack that, but you're ignoring the wisdom of the body, right? So, but then the last thing is about really there's a connection between having purpose and meaning in your life and how you care for yourself, because it really starts with being able to keep your word to yourself. And
Right.
so if you want to live your life with more purpose and meaning, it starts by how you take care of your vehicles. You're actually able to gain those insights and to have the energy to implement them. So
absolutely, yeah, it is foundational. And like you said, like you're speaking my language, that people want to hack things, and it's like, forget hacking. Why don't you work with your body so you don't have to act like a software pirate or something where you're kind of trying to break the system. So sustainability is an important part of this, and what you're saying is very important. Many times we talk about, you said, fatigue as a challenge, and people, the unhealthier the community and our lifestyle becomes, the more normal it is to be sick. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean that it is normal for an individual to be in that state of sickness or symptoms or fatigue in this particular case. We oftentimes have even terms for it, like the mid-afternoon sugar rush, or the food coma and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like that. You should not need a nap, and you should not have brain fog. These are all signs and symptoms that your body is not up to the task that you're asking it to do.
exactly.
And honestly, it should be able to do those things. It's just like you said, the foundation needs to be there, right? All right. So they come, they have fatigue, they got these challenges that's affecting their health, affecting their performance and how they show up in the world. Now, they're motivated to make a difference. What kind of happens next? What is the stumbling block that you see people struggle with?
Yeah. So it's really about upgrading what you put into your body, and stop putting in the inflammatory stuff into your body. And if you're motivated, because I love that you use that word, because it's really key, because whether I'm working with someone one-on-one or in a group, I sometimes actually find that groups are better for these things, because it ends up being an energy where people support each other. And because you realize you're not all alone, you're not the only person in the world who doesn't eat gluten, right? Because you may feel like that if you're the only one in your family, right?
Yep.
So it's really about getting the basics covered, getting the inflammatory stuff out. And we all basically know what that is, right? It's the highly processed or the ultra processed foods, the refined oils, all the ingredients, packaged food. If it has ingredients you don't have in your pantry, you don't want to buy that product, because it's a sign of an ultra processed foods, that's a real burden on your body to just have to kind of figure out what to do with all this stuff, right? So it's really only put in there to expand shelf life and make it more palatable, so then, you know, more profitable for whoever makes this product. So it's not for your best interest at heart, right? So, and then once you get that stuff out, there's sometimes also, you know, individual food sensitivities, which unfortunately is very common these days, because I think that almost everybody is on a gradient of, you know, leaky gut or, you know, permeability in the gut lining. So, but if you start eating healthy, you can start healing that. But if it doesn't go away, there may be a few foods that you may want to remove. And the most common one are gluten, dairy, and eggs, because a lot of people tend to react to that. And that's inflammatory if you create a food sensitivity reaction. And this is different from the true allergies. Right. And
I know that you're mentioning a lot of things, and I wanted to clarify this for our audience members, because so many times people are looking for quick fixes, right? So they're like, oh, she said don't eat this, or this is bad, and they just go ahead and eliminate it or add it to their diet the same way that they would add a pill to their regimen of daily things that they need to do, right? But it's more detailed than that, because every single food plays a role in a part of a bigger thing, which is your nourishment and your nutrition. So it is not as simple as saying this is good and this is bad. You guys need to be aware of that. That's what Annika is saying is not this formulaic thing where you just go ahead and press 5 buttons and boom, you're done. You know, it requires that motivation for you to work on this aspect of your life, basically.
Yeah, pay attention.
So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no, that's good, because you want to, it's a lifestyle, right? Then you want to start paying attention to how your body reacts. So the food is what you don't eat, but then you want to start putting in and make it a priority in your calendar to prepare more of your own food if you're not doing that already. And, you know, vegetables, choose the dark leafy greens, you know, the cruciferous, the broccolis, the onions, and eat the rainbow, the deeply colored like peppers and beets and carrots, and use a lot of things like garlic and ginger, because like you said, it's not like a pill. Where the pharmaceutical model is that you take something and it just overrides everything in your body, and you notice an impact within half an hour or something. But food is very subtle, because you want subtle impact, right? So because otherwise it's going to jerk you back and forth. But it's what you do every day. It's the little everyday choices that add up. So, and you want to really get the healthy fats, get rid of the refined fats, and bring in the good fats like from avocados and coconut, and use the olive oil to drizzle on salads. Because then you're giving yourself a good starting point to start realizing, oh, what's left? Maybe this was it, right? Because you end up cooling inflammation, and then it's like, oh yeah, I have more energy, vitality.
Right. I always tell the kids, and this ultimately for me and role model maker goes back to kids, right? So I always tell the kids that make the room and fill your day with good stuff. And then at the end of it, see how much space is left. And if you have something that you really want to do that's not good for you, then it has a much lesser impact, as opposed to you going ahead and opening a bag of potato chips when you're starving, and then saying, all right, well, now let's see, I'm not that hungry to have a salad afterwards. You know, so have the salads first, then at the end of it, see how much room you actually have for the chips.
Yeah. And be aware of your hunger signals, right? Because everybody's going to get hungry. So eat before you get starving, because nobody makes good choices when they're starving, right? So
exactly. So we speak the same language.
Yeah.
And so having said that, and we've already talked about a lot of important stuff like making time to plan and prepare, making sure that you go ahead and you know, you're motivated, being in a group. All of these things are really important tips and tricks. But what are the top 3 things that you would say our audience members right after this should go and take action on, that could start improving their health and moving them in the right direction?
Yeah, first check your cupboards for that ultra processed foods, because that's like it really sabotages all your best efforts. Yes, first having them in the house, get them out of the house, and work on getting every family member on the same page, right? Because it breaks my heart when I work with a lot of women and they say, oh, my husband's sitting there and eating all these snacks around me. It's not always that easy, but it makes, if you can have a conversation about these things, because you want to be healthy together, so you can do more stuff together, so get everybody on the same page. And then also see how much sleep you're getting, right? So because if we don't get enough sleep, that's going to mess with our blood sugar the next day, and we're going to have cravings for those foods that we don't really want to eat. So that's really important.
Point here that you mentioned blood sugar and you mentioned cravings, and for our audience members that are struggling with cravings and they think that it's always an uphill battle, blood sugar is a really important component. If you can control and keep it steady, many of the cravings little by little start dissipating and going away. So and as they go away, your habits become new habits, and those habits are going to ensure that your blood sugar stays level. So yeah, absolutely awesome. What else?
Yeah, so one more, it's you're getting more sleep, you're getting cleaner food, and then it's about learning to get accountable to yourself, keeping your word to yourself. And it's so important because we often say, I want to do this thing, but I don't know what it is. But in a way, I think the universe works that it's going to start giving you more when you show that you can do the things you promise yourself. If you say, I'm not going to have this, but you need a framework to support yourself for that. And that's actually the gift that I'll be sharing. And it's something that I do a lot with the women I work with in my community. It's about helping ourselves, keeping our words to ourselves, because otherwise your best intentions are not going to lead anywhere.
This is so huge, not only in nutrition, but also in personal life. Your kids pick up on it in your growth and development and where you want to end up in life and how you want to show up. Every time that I just wanted to mention this was something that early on in my career, one of my mentors mentioned to me that every time you break your word to yourself, you're robbing yourself of confidence. And that is like the worst thing you can do to yourself, because as you lose that confidence, you also will lose the drive to take initiative and make changes in your life. And imagine passing that on to your children. It's a very, very important concept to not only practice, but to also be able to teach our kids. So really, really appreciate that you brought that up. It's one of the cornerstones of everything that I do. So, and thank you for bringing that to our audience's attention.
So important. Yeah.
Like I said, I love everything that you mentioned, and I'm a big fan. So tell us, how can our audience members connect with you more and get more of your wisdom and ways to benefit from your expertise?
Yeah, so I have a community called Truly You Women Circle. And in that community, we do something called Gong Accountability Circles, where we meet for a number of weeks and we, fine tune a habit we want to plant. And I have a masterclass where I explain the framework that we use in the Gong. It basically draws on ancient wisdom teachings and modern neuroscience. And then if people join us live, but they don't have to, you also get the community support and the coaching. And I just explained the framework in a masterclass called Plant New Positive Habits for a Life That Fits. And it comes with what I call a Gong planner and the charts. So you basically pick a number of days and you start doing things. But there's some tricks and tools. So you actually set the bar just at the right height and you actually pick something that you really want to do. And just like a little plant, when you plant the seed, it needs a lot of care and attention to be able to start sprouting and growing. But eventually, as it grows bigger, you can think of a tree, it starts taking care of you if you take care of the habit when it's new. So.
Right. Absolutely. I love it. So guys, take advantage of it. I'm going to put all the links and all the stuff that Annika is sharing with me and with you guys in the description box. So go ahead and connect and find your support. This connecting and making sure that you seek out help is an important part of what we need to teach our children as well. That,
Mhm.
you know, you're not alone out there, and there is support, and there are people who can actually hold the space for you, help you grow, hold you accountable to your own word, all of those things. So connect. And if you haven't already done so, click subscribe so you also get connected to all of our experts and future episodes that may come on, so you can benefit from their expertise and their gifts as well. And Annika, I really appreciate you taking time to be here today and sharing these important points that you mentioned. Any parting words of wisdom before we finish our session today?
Yeah, what would I say? I would say that, never give up on yourself. I think that's regardless of what you've done or said to yourself in the past, every day is a fresh start. So take advantage of that. Yeah.
That's powerful. Yep. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I look forward to further collaborations with you. And guys, I look forward to seeing you on future episodes. Cheers.
Thank you.